Welcome back, everybody. It is Tuesday night, and that means another episode of Home Theater and Hi-Fi Trends, right? And we've got a really wonderful show for you tonight. First, I'd like to introduce my esteemed co-host, Digital Don AV. Don, welcome to
What
the
up?
show, sir. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good, man.
Man, so
I'm
life,
excited for the guest tonight. We got some
yeah,
excellent guests. Yeah.
I agree 100%. I finally got off of I don't know, my lazy rear end and
Crack the
have
code.
and gone through and started getting everybody scheduled up for this season, the 2025
Yeah.
season. And this is an excellent show. I agree. Two wonderful guests, and I will welcome those folks in. Now, everybody out in the audience, please say hi when you come in. We've got Mr. Okinawa, welcome, and Mr. Ghoul. Hello, Mr. Ghoul. And first, joining us is Gary Gill from Southwest Audiofest, as well as Capital Audiofest. Gary, welcome. How are you, sir?
All right, thank you. Good to be here.
Right on. And we're going to get to learn all about Southwest Audiofest and Capital Audiofest and when they are and what people could do and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that people can do while they're at a show is learn about and hear new hi-fi equipment. And specifically, Luca Chesky will be at shows all over the place in the future with his new gear. So Luca, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm doing great.
Awesome. A few more people have joined. So C Big is here with us. What's up, C Big? Mr. Haven
Chuck.
up in the house. Mr. Abominus. D Wright up in the house. Everybody out there. Bunch of folks out there that aren't saying hi. Shame on you. Say hi. Say hi. Don't be shy. All right. So to kick things off, let's do some introductions. And if you could, we'll start with you, Gary. Oh, A2 is with us. Welcome, A2. Gary, if you could, take a minute here and let people know who you are, what you do, and why they should care.
Why they should care? That's a tough one, but I'm the show organizer. Primarily, my main show is the Capital Audiofest, and now tonight we're going to be primarily talking about the Southwest Audiofest coming up in about 2 weeks in Dallas, Texas. But I'm not only an organizer, but I'm an audiophile, and I think I bought my first audio gear at about 16 when I was saving up my lawnmower money, and I bought a Harman Kardon receiver and a pair of JBL 4311s and a Sony turntable, and my parents were like, "What the hell are you doing spending your money on this stuff?" And then and then here we are today. I started 14 years ago into starting a audiophile show in DC, and it's grown into to the scale. Last year we had 125 rooms, about 5,000 attendees. We had amazing vendors like Luca, and I've got to meet people like his father, and all these different people in the music industry, the hi-fi industry, and it's been a real pleasure. So I appreciate being able to talk about it.
Awesome. Thank you, Gary. That's a great introduction. Now, Luca, you're going to be on the hot seat. So who are you? What do you do? And why should people care?
All right. So I'm Luca Chesky. I make bookshelf speakers, the LC1 right here. And why should people care? Well, I think the biggest thing that I'm trying to do is bring in a new generation of audiophiles into the hobby. I think this is a hobby that so many kids my age and a little older would all love. And I think it's something that is so special to all of us. And the appreciation for music is something that I think is so important. So that's really my main goal with this. So, yeah.
Awesome. So to get the questions, kind of done. So what's your age? Everybody's gonna be like, how old is this dude? What's he about kids? So how old are you? Everybody out there, guess, think in your head.
I'm 17 years old.
17. So I've got a son who's just turned 16. So I absolutely understand kind of the world you're living. So you're a junior right now?
senior in high school.
Oh, senior, right on. Very nice.
Yeah. Luca is an old soul, though. Very much.
I completely understand. All right, so let's get started. Let's swing back over to Gary a little bit, and I think today maybe we can go back and forth a bit, and then play off of each other. So I'm not gonna ask anybody just to hang out bored for forever and ever as we talk about one thing, but we'll flip back and forth. So for Southwest Audio Fest, let's get the primer questions out there too. Just like, how old is Luca? For Southwest Audio Fest, what are the wheres and whens and hows of the show? So if somebody's interested in it, where's Southwest? Where is that at? When is that at?
Southwest is actually in Dallas, Texas. It's coming up on March 21st through the 23rd. We have a setup day, which is on the 20th. And generally, all these guys come in and set up on a day or two beforehand, and then we have 3 days of great fun, great audio, live music. We have a blast, but it's our second year, and we're anticipating to have about 2,000 plus visitors or attendees. And last year we had about, I think, around 40 rooms, and this year we're over 60.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and in the hotel is pretty amazing. I heard some grumblings about the hotel in Florida. I mean, Bart's a good friend of mine, and there's some issues there. I'm sure he'll work it out, but we're at the Anatole Hotel, which is the premier luxury hotel in Dallas, Texas. To give you an idea, so the hotel in DC, where I have the Capitol Audio Fest, I have 22 large rooms. This hotel in Dallas has the ability to have 79 large rooms. 79 and 1,600 sleeping rooms. It's more than twice the size of the Schomburg for Exponent. We're also close to 2 major airports, and we just feel that it's going to give us years and years our ability to grow. It's a really nice, well-run hotel, so we hope it gives that chance just to go and to prosper.
Awesome. Super cool. So Don, I think maybe you and I should swap off on questions too, right?
Sure.
So maybe you hit Luca with the first one. One thing I do want to point out is Luca does live on the second floor.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you showing tonight.
I'm here all week.
So
I have to get Luca, you're going to hear that.
Was that a music reference?
That's all right. So, Florida Audio Expo, I go into this really cool dark room, and my buddy Steve from Cambridge Audio, and I'm like, wow, what are those? And I saw his bookshelves, and like under $1,000 just absolutely floored me. Luca, talk about a couple things. I know you said something about 3D printing that differentiate your speakers in the design process, if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah. So, with the LC1, the entire cabinet, it's one piece, and the whole thing is 3D printed. The advantage of 3D technology with speakers is that acoustically you can get better shapes, and it's easier to get those opposed to something like wood or MDF, which is the traditional material of a speaker that's $1,000 or less. It all really started with, so last year I took an internship at Princeton's 3D Audio Lab for 3D Audio and Applied Acoustics. That's under Professor Edgar Schwery, who does the Bach DSP. Yeah. So I was interning there for around 2 months, and I wanted to, kind of create a project. And using the knowledge that I was learning in the lab, I wanted to create something that would still combine my passion for music and technology into one thing. And using the resources that I had at home, I recently had bought a 3D printer. So I was like, you know what, let me see if I can come up with something. And doing a lot of research, and many prototypes later, landed with the LC1. So yeah.
Yeah. So your design's pretty interesting. It had tremendous bass definition on it. I mean, it really truly did. Not just amount of bass, but the accuracy of the bass. Now, don't you use like two passive radiators, like an 8s or whatnot? Correct me if I'm wrong. Then the active drivers in the front.
Yeah. So it's two 8-inch passives and then a 6.5-inch woofer in the front. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So there's like a little waveguide looking, cool looking piece on the front. What is that?
Yeah. So that's what I call my tessellation technology. Mm-hmm. And similar to how a lot of speakers kind of put felt on the face of their speakers, it's to help minimize reflections off the front of the baffle. So I wanted to create something also using 3D as an advantage that would be functional and also look cool. So kind of playing around with it, I was able to kind of come up with that. And yeah, I found that shape worked the best.
Very cool. So are these speakers going to be a direct to consumer product? Are you going to sell them to your website? Okay.
Yeah. So it'll all the sales right now are just through cheskyaudio.com.
Right on. And look, I'm sure everybody talks to you. They want to talk about your dad. So I want you to stand on your own two legs and your own merit. But I mean, you pretty much grew up in high fidelity and music and whatnot. I mean, how was that? I mean, that had to be awesome.
Yeah. So, before I even got into the world of high-end music, I'm a musician. So I play drums, piano, and guitar. Okay. So I definitely think that is a key factor when designing a speaker is knowing what real music sounds like. So always being surrounded by real good music and also, good speakers. As a reference, my dad has the Quad ESL 57s, which for me has been my benchmark speaker. To me, that's what sounds right. It's a fantastic speaker.
I had a pair of them for a while. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So really being around that really helps. Also my ear, right? So I would like to think that I have a little bit of a trained ear to know what sounds good, what doesn't, what sounds real, what doesn't. And with that, it helps with the design process and knowing which direction to go.
And probably that good young hearing that many of us didn't protect.
You can hear that 18,000 still.
Huh? What? What did you say, Shani?
So look, a couple of questions on the 3D printing piece, right? Because I love that kind of stuff. Now, are you using like a what most consumers out there would recognize as a 3D printer, like a FDM printer?
Yes, it is an FDM printer.
And are you doing like a PLA or ABS or PETG?
Yeah, so the show right now is full PLA. So that's the material that I find that works, the best for it.
Right. Yeah, we do a lot of 3D printing with PLA. Mm-hmm. And so what's your 3D design tool of choice?
So I design everything in Fusion 360. Mm-hmm. And then it gets sliced through Bamboo Slicer. It's, I think, in terms of 3D slicing, the best software.
Yeah, we're a Bamboo household here as well. So
the funny thing with 3D is that it's very practical to design in terms of like if you were doing like the guys over at YG Acoustics, that's some serious cabinet design in terms of cool path and everything, because you have to think that's going to be on a CNC.
Love that.
With 3D, it gets a little bit easier, but then you run into some other problems with temperature, flow ratio. So it did take a long time to get everything really dialed in. But once it is, everything runs really nicely.
But, as we were printing my my Marvel superhero mask collection, we ran into my head is obviously too big, so we had to scale everything. Super nerd. Oh yeah, super nerd. Go ahead, Don.
What's that material? Talk about the material you're using to build the cabinet in relation to like MDF, HDF, and whatnot. Is it denser?
Yeah. So PLA itself isn't very dense. The thing that really gives the LC1 that low resonance, which makes it a lot more inert and dead than something like MDF or wood, is this proprietary composite I developed. This was working over at the lab. Some material science stuff went into it. But I played around with a lot of different things and a lot of different resonances, and which was the best density to work with in relation to how strong PLA is. Because if you have something that's really, really heavy and really, really dense, the PLA just like pops open. So I had a couple.
It's pretty brittle, yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of structural support in the inside. So yeah, it definitely took a long time to get everything right.
That's crazy cool. What drivers are you using in that? Just something that you had proprietary built for you, or?
Yeah. So right now it's some proprietary stuff, but
Very cool.
I'm very excited for what should be coming in. I would say late December of this year. I'm working on a second model.
Ooh,
He's gonna fill them up with sand. No, I always talk about the sand because we got buddies that use sand for a lot of damping in there.
Yeah. That was an original concept of mine, but then I thought, man, somebody drops this on their carpet and it breaks open and it's sand, they're gonna freak out.
Right.
So yeah, I didn't end up going with that.
So I want to switch gears back over to Gary here for a second. So I want to talk a little bit more about Southwest Audio Fest. So for folks that haven't been to a show, right? And I have a pretty diverse audience, right? So we got a lot of 2-channel people, multi-channel people, and then just general tech folks, and then nerd fan folks as well. What could they expect to experience at Southwest Audio Fest? I mean, what would draw them in?
I got to say right now, admittedly, we're primarily a 2-channel show, but we have aspirations. As I described the hotel, we have aspirations to grow in more to a lifestyle kind of show, and to bring in home theater and other kind of home entertainment opportunities. I'm not sure where we're going to go. We're going to push it. I think we have one home theater retailer coming this year, and we've been really pushing it with the regional Dallas-Fort Worth retailers and installers, and I hope we really push there so that I'm trying to get more families to come and get the interest in, as you said, a younger audience, more families, both male and female, and just trying to get a lot of different people in there and make the crowd diverse. But we've got 2 nights of live music. We've got a real vibrant atrium for vinyl sellers. We've got some headphones. We've got pretty good diversity that I think it'll bring in a pretty wide audience. So we're hoping that our social media and our advertising is going to bring in a lot more people. And it's chicken and egg scenario. We grow a little bit more, we bring some more people in, and we keep going back and forth. And I hope we can be at that point where we're a supersized show in a few years.
So Gary, I think the audio shows have traditionally been the high-end 2-channel market, right? Yeah. You're always going to get those people in. But what I've noticed in my experience going to many shows, and one of them, like the Audio Advice Live show, I don't know if you've ever went to that one. That's a fantastic show. It's a great venue. But SDS, when they bring out surround, and I know it's hard to do the surround demos. Everybody wants a big bass and it intrudes on the next room. But if you could have like sound bars, and I know people are going to throw rocks at me, more affordable systems, multi-channel systems, that I think that'll bring the younger crowd, the families in, like what Luca's producing. We always want the high end, but there's stuff that normal people or people that are just wanting to dip their toes in the hobby. I think that might be the key. I know that car audio is being integrated, like there was at the Florida Audio Expo.
Yep,
and Expo.
They did that.
I think you're onto something there, Gary. I really think to have those, as well as, I mean, even like Samsung doing a sound bar or Sonos. Why not?
You know what, Don? Just to jump on that, Canvas would be awesome to have at a hi-fi show. They make a high-end soundbar, which is amazing. Dyn Audio is releasing their soundbar that's got all the little louvers on it. That is pretty darn amazing. Don't watch my video about it. We turn it on and it's like a wave and it's crazy. Nakamichi is doing some pretty good stuff. I know, but you're right. People will throw rocks. There'll be a lot of
it's a
and
shame
Luca's over
because-
there. I can't be on the show anymore.
Look,
I'm
if,
out.
if somebody starts with a sound bar, and I've been an integrator for over 30 years, and I worked in hi-fi shops my whole life, adult life, if you can call it that. But it's a gateway drug. A lot of people start off with. I start off with a big screen TV with 2 infinity rear speakers, and that led into speakers and led into Pro Logic surround. That's good for the hobby.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's I like to joke with my friends because a lot of people come over to hear the speakers, and these are kids that are used to listening on just earbuds, right?
Right.
And once you hear what you're missing, it's hard to go back. It's the same thing with like when I walk through the shows, I don't normally have a lot of time to walk around and check out all the rooms, but when I do, when you hear something that's really, really amazing, it's hard to go back. You always want to work up to something. And I think that I have to agree with you guys where definitely a kid my age, I don't have $500,000 to drop on a system. So if there was a lot of, I guess you could say, entry-level stuff, it really brings in more people into the hobby.
I agree 100%. And there's a place for it all. Luca, a kid my age doesn't have $500,000 to drop on a system.
No.
Don't feel bad. But that would be really cool, Gary, if you could, I know the logistics and whatnot, but I'm sure a lot of the bigger manufacturers would love the opportunity to do that. And it might bring in a whole crowd. And,
I don't know if it's, hopefully it's not a bad word, but the word Chi-Fi, Chinese Fidelity Audio, there's a lot of, especially in the digital world, there's a lot of great DACs, a lot of great digital products that are bringing people into, I guess, computer-based audio or digital or streaming audio.
100%.
I mean,
recording studios, like recording
to get in there. At the Capitol Audiofest this year, our local DC Hi-Fi group, they brought in, I think, about 20 different inexpensive products. I don't know, Luca, if you went into the room, but there was a lot of interesting things.
They had
what did you think?
So I went. I think at least we're thinking of the same room. They had that little, I think it was a $60 SMSL DAC. And I went in and heard it, and I bought it right after the show. And for the LC one, if you wanted like a really budget system, I paired it up with I forgot the model, but like Fosse's integrated amp and that little thing. So that's like $120 for the integrated and $60 for the DAC, and $180 and $1,000 speakers, full system, and it sounds great.
Dude, if you want to get fancy, you can get like the Fosse monoblocks. They're about this big.
Yeah, I mean, I bought the Fosse and then I swapped out the op amps for I forgot which ones they were, but that was a huge upgrade.
So Jiles, I got to tell you that WIM streamer that you hooked me up with, $150, absolutely blown away with how easy the setup is, how good the app is. I just run it, spit a digital out to a pre-pro using their DACs, and it floors me. How good
I have one in my room. It's great.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's
really good. So I'm gonna do a video here pretty soon, and I'm going to compare the WIM Ultra, that's the one with the display, with the Hi-Fi Rose RS150, the one with the real good DACs, not the one after the fire, the A version, not the B version, with the Eversolo A8, I think it is, and then a Alpha Audio, I forget the model number, it's one that nobody knows about. And I think that's going to be great. But you know what? Even like you said, just the WIM entry level, not the puck, the step up from the puck.
The pro. It's absolute. And I've got a ton of really high-end nice DACs. I use all the apps from Blue OS to Yamaha to EOS to a multitude of them, and it's just, I think the Chi-Fi, as you were talking about, Gary, that I hate to be derogatory, but it's really the opportunity to get into legit hi-fi now.
Right.
You can get some Luca speakers and a little streaming amp. I mean, Luca, you had a Cambridge, which makes killer. That piece sounded amazing.
It was shocking. That was one of the best. That was one of the best pairings I've ever heard with my speaker. And I've tested so many like $1,000, $2,000 amps integrated to see what the pairing was. And till the show, that was like that. It blew me away. And it's one little module. That's all you need.
And you know what's cool about Cambridge is the cool factor. They are such a group of audiophiles. They answer every email. They when people post on, you know, I've watched them close, and you know, and Steve the best. Like,
Sure.
he's the coolest, man.
Yeah.
He's like 74 and still a bodybuilder now.
Yeah, he's in good shape.
No, that's cool. C-Big is all like, you got to put a Blue Note in that lineup for the video. I don't have a Blue Sound, Blue Note, Blue Sound. I don't have a Blue Sound box, unfortunately. I'll try and get my hands on one though. Luca, are you going to be at Southwest Audio Fest or Capital Audio Fest or any of those?
I'll be at Southwest, and hopefully this year I'll also be back at Capital.
Man, you're making the rounds. That's awesome.
Yeah. For the rest of this year, I'll be after the Dallas show, I'll be at Expona, and then I have a little booth at Munich, and then the SoCal show.
Right
on. Is that the show?
Yeah.
Right. I'll be there as well. I'll be at Expona. You know, speaking of audio that comes out of China and hi-fi shows, the Beijing show is humongous. I mean, it's like 30,000, 40,000 people. I mean, it is a big show. Big. That's crazy.
Have you been there?
I have not yet been in person, but I am scoping it out because that I think would be an event. I should be at the Bangkok show this summer because we're gonna have family vacation in Asia, and so I think I'll be there at the weekend where they have the show, so I'm going to try and swing by. But Beijing, that's high on my list of things to just go see because it's supposedly a spectacle, and I hope that we can get Southwest Audio Fest that size. Now that's the goal. Everybody,
thank you.
Southwest Audio Fest, got to do it.
It's a good location.
It
is.
Absolutely is. So I want to talk, Gary, a little bit more about the evolution of the show over the years, right? So maybe you could take just a couple of minutes here and tell us, you know, how the show has, you know, changed from when you first got started with it, and you might even have a better insight into Capital Audio Fest because I think you've been working that one the 14 years, I think you said, and then what, just like 3 or 4 years for Southwest. What have you seen change over the years?
Well, the Capital Audio Fest, as you said, 14 years ago, it started off primarily as a DIY show. So it had a lot of vintage gear, record sellers, but then I was not an audio insider. So I didn't know anybody. I was a hobbyist. I've always been into hi-fi. But yet these guys showed up that are still with the Capital Audio Fest. You know, Greg Barron from United Home Audio, Fox, Command AV. Then there's, High Water Sound. Jeff from High Water Sound in Brooklyn. Let's see, who else we have? Oh, Gary Dews, Border Patrol. So all those guys took a chance on me when I had 12 rooms. And then little by little, it grew to the point where, here we go, 14. Last year, 2024, we had 125 rooms. And I've gone through the process and I've learned a lot. And that's why I go to other shows too. I learn what to do, what not to do, what I should do. You know, the biggest one was probably about website and signage. You got to have signs out for people to read, and they like to show programs, and now we're incorporating digital programs. I mean, almost every year you see things coming and going with the major shows, whether it's Dallas, DC, Capital, Expona, or Florida. People are trying different things. And Bart did our audio. I mean, that's been done before in LA, but they weren't successful with it. So I mean, I do things like beer and wine sampling. Everybody likes that.
There's
So,
nothing wrong with that. You could close your
yeah,
ears.
exactly.
Yeah,
But hey,
yeah. Bart does a good job with the show. He really does. I
yeah,
know he's running around stressed out. I'm like, Bart, you gotta breathe. You gotta breathe. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But
he was stressed out.
cool.
His face was red.
I know.
Yeah,
I
but
know, poor guy.
I've learned over the course of time, and then we tried to apply it to Dallas, and now we're in our second year. We're in a venue. I think we can stay there for a long time. I mean, look at Exponent. They've been there for what, 5-7 years, something like that. They're close to being maxed out, but we hope at Dallas we can grow and make that a pretty major, significant show. Maybe it'll rival some of the other world-sized the global events. But I mean, I'm pretty much maxed out in DC. The hotel not able to really grow much more, so we're going to apply the same kind of fun, love, and good time at Capital Audiofest. Apply it to Dallas. That's my goal.
Nice. And I was talking to some guys down in Florida, and they were talking about, I think it was Southwest Audiofest, and they were talking about the old days, right? And they said one of the things that they really loved, and that was part of the beginning of this show, was that it wasn't in the beginning a venue for the manufacturers or the dealers, right? It was really a place where audiophile guys would come and bring their systems, their personal stuff, and set up in rooms, and they would just hang out and listen to each other's systems all in one spot,
cool.
right? And
Let me clarify that's not correct. There was a show before, a DIY show called Lone Star.
Okay, so this is a different show that they were talking about then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Lone Star.
Right
so,
on.
All right, you can edit this one if you want, but I went there 3 years ago to meet those guys and to say, hey, we're coming. We want to see if we can do something together, because they were more of a DIY show. It was not as well organized as most trade shows, and I didn't hear anything from them. I went to visit them, went to talk to them, and nothing happened. So we came, we reserved our hotel, and there we are. And now I think they're going to try it out in another city. So I don't know. I did my best to communicate with them, and they.
Well, it sounds like that door's open then. If they ever want to reach out and touch base,
it is.
It sounds like you'd be more than happy to talk to them. That's cool. Right on.
It is. Yeah, because we like to bring in, like in DC, we have 2 major audiophile groups. We have a couple audiophile groups in Dallas. I mean, there's audiophiles from Vegas that come, from Oklahoma City has a lot of audio guys.
Nice.
Dallas and Fort Worth and Houston and Austin and New Orleans. So we've met people from little clubs and gatherings in all those cities. So we hope to continue to grow.
Awesome. Cool. Now, so for folks that are just joining us, today we have 2 outstanding guests. We've got Luca Chesky from Chesky Audio, and we're going to talk more about your speakers here in just a minute. And then Gary Gill from Southwest and Capital Audiofest.
Yes.
So let's talk a little more about the speakers. And I want to make sure that we talk about the way that people can hear them, which I think is going to be shows, right? But then also, since you're a direct consumer, I want you to take a minute and kind of pitch, your website and the price and, kind of the value proposition for your speaker, right? So, why would people want your speaker? And if they decide, okay, I want this thing, then how do they get it?
Yeah, so for anybody who wants the LC1 loudspeaker, you go to www.cheskyaudio.com. And on the site, it's $498 each, $996 for the pair. They're sold individually in case you want to do 3, let's say, for stereo and a center channel, or people who want to buy more for a
multi-channel, baby.
Yeah. So they're $498 each, $996 for the pair. And it's free shipping for the whole continental US. Yeah, there we go.
Here we go. Let's take a look at this. So there's the speaker.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then people, I'll put the link down below in the notes so everybody can find that easily. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, continue.
Yeah.
On.
So if you click Shop Now or Products, everything will be under that. So we actually have the original classic black, and then we have 2 of the color editions ones. Oh man, these pictures have to be updated. But we have the red bookshelf monitor and we have the brown one. Both of those are going to be a little bit more. Those are $625 each. And yeah.
This is all one piece, right? The enclosure is completely built one piece, printed all I don't know, simultaneously or contiguously. That's interesting. I like that a lot.
Very cool.
It's definitely handy because typically you need if you're doing like a panel speaker, right, with multiple different sides, you need a lot of internal bracing. With 3D, I mean, there is some internal stuff, but nothing that bridges across the internal cabinet. So there's a little bit more air volume in the inside. It's not a lot. The speaker's pretty small.
Sure.
But it's a super inert speaker.
Yeah, and you don't print with any 100% infill, right? So that those are all solid walls, correct?
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah. So for folks that don't 3D print, sometimes when you 3D print and you want to print something that's very large, you don't want to necessarily use a lot of material if it's not some piece that has to have some type of mechanical strength, right? So what you do is you like print the 2 walls and then you have like little sandwiches, like zigzags inside. Obviously that wouldn't be good for this type of scenario. And then on the front of the speaker, what was the name that you named for the triangle?
Yeah, tessellation diffraction tech.
Okay, and that is printed all simultaneously with the enclosure as well, right? Yeah.
And the same kind of tech is also on the inside of the cabinet, along with some other stuff to help the acoustic properties.
Very cool.
See, now we got to see the inside of one of these.
Well, I can tell you one thing.
I got to buy one just to take it apart.
These speakers floored me. They were really that good, and not just me. There were several people like, "Hey, did you check them Cheskys out?" I mean, for a about under $3,000 setup that you had there, minus stands.
Yeah.
I mean,
there was a question while you're talking about that, Don. Which Cambridge audio unit matched well with the Chesky speakers? What were you using?
The EXA 100 integrated amplifier. It's a class AB amp, 100 watts per channel at 8 ohms, and it's $2,200 roughly.
Nice. What were you saying, Don? I'm sorry, I didn't.
I was just going on how it was a phenomenal pairing. So maybe a little over $3,000, but I mean that's a real true hi-fi system by any measurable sense. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to beat it without dropping a couple more grand at least. I mean, it's that good.
Thanks.
Have you ever thought of trying to do like a resin print?
So
like photography or something?
Yeah, the problem with resin prints, along with the printers, I'm sure they make really big ones that are a lot of money. It's really brittle. So if somebody were to drop it, it like shatters. It's like glass almost, or sugar glass. It's really, you can do a lot of really intricate and really detailed stuff with resin. I'm not very familiar with it, so I might say something that's incorrect. So if anyone is in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong. But it's very brittle compared to standard. I don't have a lot of experience with it, but it's not ideal. There
so people need the production video. Are you using one of the bed slingers from Bamboo? No. Okay. Right on. So that'd be cool if your printer has a built-in camera. It would be cool to do the time lapse, right? So you can have it, print and then park the head and take a picture and print and park the head and take a picture. And then it goes that or maybe that's the secret sauce and you can't tell everybody all the secrets.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards, keeping it a secret. Steve says to say I use FM technology, which is freaking magic.
That's good. That's good. I think it's very interesting for you to use. I don't want to call it alternative production methods, but this really is a more modern type of production as compared to let's cut up some MDF and glue it together and then paint it, right? So this is a whole different kind of thing.
Mhm.
And you know, for folks that aren't familiar with 3D printing, it's not just PLA or ABS or plastics or polymers, that kind of stuff, but you can 3D print in all types of different materials. I
Yeah.
mean, you can do metal printing too, right?
There's
And
yeah. You know, one of my dad's friends who's helping me. He's familiar with a lot of companies that do metal printing. They're these $1 million machines, but yeah, you can print in anything. There's a filament that really interests me. It's PLACF, which is carbon fiber infused.
yes,
Yeah.
that's what I want right there. Get some of that PLACF. That is baller.
Yeah.
It
So
probably wouldn't be $1,000 a pair then.
it's
do
not,
what you gotta do.
not that much more than standard PLA, but definitely for, let's say, an LC2, maybe we'll have something like that.
You know what would also be cool is just you know, smile and wave at the folks in Colorado that build their speakers out of aluminum, and then you could do some 3D
Right.
printed aluminum. That would be
Yeah.
Right.
It was
here.
fun. Yeah.
You need. Oh, I'm
I
gonna.
think Jiles is living vicariously through you, Luca.
A little no. So okay, there are things that speak to me, right? And it can be a related piece of a speaker, right? So you can have a speaker, and I might not like the way it sounds, but I like this thing, this design property or whatever. And I like your speakers, Luca. I think they're awesome. But tangentially related to it, I like the way that you make them. I think that's really cool too. Just the whole process of, okay, I'm going to sit down and I, as a person, you, right, or anyone that wanted to do something, you can say, I want to make this thing. And if you have the talent and the skills, you can do it and you can print it, and you print them in your garage or in your house, right?
Yeah.
How cool is that?
It's the coolest.
It's cool. It's awesome.
Oculus started, right? I mean, you could have an empire.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that's the goal. You know, I really want to stay in the hi-fi world. You know, it's something I love. So that'd be, you know, that's the end goal, to kind of have an audio empire. It'd be cool.
The empire.
The empire. I tell you what, I know I can speak for myself and Jiles for sure, and I'm sure Gary and a slew of other people that would love to support you and your ventures in any way that we humanly possible, because you are the future of hi-fi, and it's a big deal for us. So we got you, man.
I'm calling Nikon SLM, and I'm going to ask for a SLM 800 for you. You might have to have another production facility to mount this thing.
Yeah,
gonna need a bigger room.
This will give you large scale metal additive manufacturing, so you'll be able to make humongous 8-foot tall tower speakers out of 3D printed aluminum type materials. And Magico will be all sad because you'll be like, oh, I just make them in my garage, man. Come on. Wouldn't that be awesome? So I mean, just you're on a wonderful leaping off point, right? And you know, this is, you know, like your production model 1, right? So you had your, you know, whatever your predecessors were, and now you've got a production product, and now the future is wide open.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, just think of the acoustical design, the materials engineering is a thing, right? It's just cool. Anyway, sorry.
Everybody, hey, Luke, is your dad helping you a little bit with this? Like, giving you some advice, guiding you in?
He's definitely been a reference point in terms of, you know, Dad, what do you think? Does this sound good? Do you like the way this sounds? When I was prototyping, you know, it was a lot of, you know, I would come up with something, I would sit down, I'd listen, and I would come up with my idea, and I would see what he has to say. You know, he's always been, you know, a trusty source and reference point. And it's good because I have quite a bit of good source material to test it on. So
yes, you do. I mean, I bet your parents are they couldn't be more proud of this, man. That's super cool, dude.
Yeah, they love it.
What I got a question. What's the frequency response?
It's 50 to 20K.
did it 20K, and it's 83 decibels sensitive. I'm looking at it's 18 pounds, 10 inches deep, 8 inches wide, 10 inches high. You said it's 6.5 with dual 8-inch passive radiators, right? Do you know what the F3? Well, I guess that would be the F3 on the box there. You already said. And then what kind? It's a dome tweeter. Is that like what type of material is that? These are the general questions that everybody's going to ask.
Yeah, silk soft dome tweeter.
Silk soft dome. Right on. Cool. And a Svelte 18 pounds. Hand built in the USA.
Yeah.
To exacting standards.
Yeah.
I like it.
I want to buy a pair just so for the value one day. Can you imagine in 20 years when Chesky Audio is the 800-pound gorilla and you have like first generation, you know what I mean? Can you sign it for me?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a couple guys that asked them to be signed. So that'll be cool.
Yeah. No, hell yeah, dude.
But yeah, so I build all of these by hand. It's definitely a lot, but I love it, and it's a ton of fun. So it's an awesome feeling knowing that a lot of people like and want the speaker. It's unreal to me.
So as I think about this stuff, I get excited about the production stuff because we just so my 16-year-old he loves to design and 3D print. He doesn't do speakers, but he does other things. And we just got a laser engraver, laser cutter.
Yeah.
So he's working on making signage and then also etching on metal. So I could see you like cutting out some nice emblems and then etching on your signature or something and then mounting that onto the box.
So I'm working right now with the drivers for a secret little future project, but
nice.
I'm thinking about doing some like laser etching engraving on the baffle for the tweeter. I think would be
nice.
Cool.
That'd be very cool. Yeah, that'd be super awesome. All right, so Gary, I want to come back to you. And now, Southwest is a little bit smaller show. Are you going to have like any type of talk tracks there? So outside of just go listen and check out the equipment, are you going to have any of the kind of educational discussions? You do that at Capital Audio Fest, right?
Yeah, last year we had I think 4, 8, 9. 12 guest speakers. I think 4 on Friday, 5 on Saturday, and probably 3 or 4 on Sunday. At Dallas, we're having 3. I think we have a total of 9 guest speakers. 3 Friday, 4 on Saturday, and 2 on Sunday. So we definitely got that covered. And if we had more time, there's so many people that have something to say. Maybe Luca, maybe at Capital Audio Fest, you'll be able to want to give a seminar at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that'd be great.
That'd be
have
awesome.
you up there and give a demonstration.
Capital.
I mean, love this stuff. Most guest speakers. The rooms are full. There's a lot of interested parties, and they want to know how it's made. It's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah.
You know what you should do, Luca? You should bring a 3D printer, and then scale down your box to like micro size, and then just print not print a real speaker, but just buy one of the $150 Bamboo Labs bed slingers and just print like a little PLA thing, right? And then when they come off, you could just give it away to somebody that happens to be there. And then they're kind of loud, so maybe you put it out in the hallway or something. But that would be pretty cool. I bet a 3D printer going outside your door would bring all the boys to the yard.
Yeah, it would be cool. Yeah, one thing that I definitely think talking about seminars and stuff like that, because my whole thing is bringing in new people. A lot of people don't necessarily know, I guess, what good sound is. So I think if this is just my opinion. I think if there was a seminar that kind of explained what makes a good speaker, like what is, you sit down, you go, wow, that sounds great, compared to, you sit down on some $20, not so great sounding speakers. How do you tell the difference? What are you looking for? What makes a good amp? What makes a good DAC? Because for a lot of people just coming in, they walk in and they see, whoa, these look crazy. I don't know what I'm listening to. It's like big sound. So I think that could be something that would be really cool.
That's a fantastic idea, because people try to dip their toes in the water. They go online and they get eaten alive more often than not. You know, people online tend to attack, or you know what I mean, and then you hear different
Social
things.
media brings out the worst of us.
I mean, I hate to say it because I'm online all the time, but I mean, you know, to have the opportunity to come in and really learn what the difference is and then experience. That's a fantastic idea, actually.
I think also there's a disconnect between guys who sit at home and listen to the gearhead, versus a lot of those guys do not go out to live music.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't know what real strings sound like, or you know, if you're standing in front of a trumpet, it's painful. It hurts.
It's super loud.
Doesn't sound as smooth as you think it's going to be. So I mean, that's what we do at these audio shows. Also, we have two nights of live music, and when you're not listening to your gear, get out and listen to some live music. Know what a piano sounds like. Know what a voice sounds like.
Absolutely.
And then you can go back and refine your system. And I'm sure Luca went through that, and he's around music all the time, 24/7, I bet.
Yeah, I'm excited for the I think Lou mentioned you guys did a podcast earlier. There's going to be a local blues band at the Southwest show. Yeah, I'm very excited for that. I'll be stopping by for sure.
Yeah, he's a Stevie Ray Vaughan wannabe, and he wears the hat and the black shirt and all that. So let's hope like a power trio on Friday, and then a jazz quintet on Saturday. That's
awesome. I love Stevie Ray Vaughan, so yeah, that'll be great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hopefully this guy can bring it, right? Because if you're a Stevie Ray Vaughan wannabe, you got to be good, right? You gotta be
I hope so.
Because that, you know, Mr. Vaughan, he's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not a big, you know, fan of his particular style of music, but man, I can appreciate what that guy can do. Wow, he can do it. It's crazy good. All right, so we only have a few minutes left, so just a couple of more questions before we get into closing. So, Luca, for you, I want you to predict the future, right? So look into that crystal ball, and in 10 years, what's the goal? What do you want? What are you trying to build here? What's your plan?
Like I mentioned earlier, I'm trying to create a huge audio company. I want to be able to create something that you go into everybody's homes and you see, whether it's from a super nice, you know, flagship model Chesky audio floor standing speaker, or a small little LC1 like this. I want, you know, you go over to your friend's house, you see a pair of Chesky speakers. I want to be able to bring in a whole generation that is, you know, like Steve says all the time, you know, more people are listening to music than ever, right? On the way to work, on the train. So the second people sit down, they listen to speakers and they feel, you know, embodied by the music, they want to have that in their house. So the goal is to really create, like I mentioned before, like an audio empire, and just, I want to be able to create everything there is under the sun, but also keeping that mindset of having good value for the price, because I think that's the most important part.
Very nice. Right. Now, and then for you, Gary, let's ask you the same question, right? So for Southwest Audio Fest, you want what he wants?
I want what he wants. Empire. But I mean, it's all about growing our audience, and seriously, what Luca's doing is amazing, but I don't know if you see this in the industry. There's kind of a disconnect between, you know, the headphone sector, and I'm always trying to bring them in to because all my friends have headphones, they have speakers, they have amplifiers, they have all this stuff. I'm looking to make we'll say turn the Southwest Audio Fest into a show for home entertainment, for lifestyle products, that everybody, families, all different walks of life can enjoy. You can get an introductory system, cost-effective system, to the cost is no object system. And you can do it all at the same venue. That's what I'd like to see.
Right on.
Dude, I love that, Gary. I mean, that really speaks to me too.
Both of you guys are just on fire, man. Like, I couldn't agree more with both of you and what you want to do. And man, you know, Jiles and well, I'm like Batman. He's like Robin.
I am and I've got the green outfit too. So don't make.
I think we both would.
Do you have tights?
What's that?
Do you have tights?
Oh, I got them on right now.
I've got killed. I think we would love to help you guys in any way possible. And in fact, you know, I have a male full-figured exotic flamenco interpretive dance group. When your show gets a little bigger, maybe we'll talk to you about doing it. So, I mean, it'll be a big draw.
It is shockingly horrific what you're saying, Don. I
didn't know how to react.
There's a show for that. There's a show for that, but it's not this show.
I know, dude. No, seriously, man, this has been really great. Luca, it's great to see you again. I'm sure I'll be seeing you again here very soon. Gary, I hope the same. I wish I could make it, but I got to have surgery Thursday. So unfortunately, but next year, I'm putting on my cowboy hat and I'm coming to Texas.
Nice. Right on. So Luke and Gary, I'm gonna put you guys down into the green room, and Don and I are gonna close this one out, and then we'll come back and say goodbye to you. But for all the other folks out there, you know, thank you for joining the show, both of you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
I look forward to having you both on again in the future and getting an opportunity to see you again in person here one of these days soon. So Luca, Gary, thank you so much.
Thanks for having
me. Luca, I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
Thank you. All right.
All right, Don, going to close this one out. Great. Thank you so much for coming on. Anything that you want to leave the folks with, anything for your channels or anything that they need to know?
No, man, just I'll be out of commission for a couple, weeks. Then I'll be back in a neck brace so you can have your fun with that. But it will be a cool neck brace. Great guest tonight. Listen, that Luca kid, those speakers sound great. 100%. Wouldn't tell you that if I didn't really. I mean, you heard him, Jiles.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Really, really good. I appreciate all of you guys, especially the ones that always show up every week. You're like an extended family, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right on. Next week we'll have RBH on again, and Richard Sharshan, who did the book Home Theaterology, however you say that. Mm-hmm. He'll be on as well, and we'll talk about that and show that off. I got a copy here. I'll be able to show up for folks, so that's really cool. And with that, everybody, thank you for joining. Remember, like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all those things. Hey, and if you like comic books, tomorrow I'll be live streaming about the new week's comics. I know I do all the nerd things, so hopefully I'll see all of you.
I want to sneak out of here and go finish up this accurate setup process.
Oh,
I'm so excited! Oh my god,
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. All right, well, you have to tell everybody about it next week or the week after, whenever you're back.
Yeah, whenever I come back.
Yeah. All right, folks. Thanks, see you guys next time.
Cheers.